Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. Today we're talking about my dream truck, my literal dream truck. And when I say literal, I literally dream about this truck, or have been for the last 5 years. Now I dream about a slightly more expensive, nicer version of the truck, but this is my 2019 F-450 XL trim on 40-inch super singles. And it's amazing. I've talked a lot about this truck, why I built it, why I traded the Tundra for it, kind of the ethos behind the build, a lot of thought process and whatnot. And I've talked about most of those on the channel. Why a 450 instead of a 250, why a dually instead of a single rear wheel. All that stuff I've covered. So I'm not really gonna talk about that in this video. I'm just talking about the culmination of all of the work I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. And it's not quite done all the way, but it's pretty close. So the F-450, Super Duty, 6.7 liter Powerstroke, beefcake truck, 8-foot bed, big old door. This is the do everything, go anywhere. You call it the bug out truck, whatever you want. It's just the beast truck. And so super singles means I converted the dual rear wheel to a single rear wheel, and I will talk about all of that. And I'm going to talk about mostly the exterior of this truck. Next month, September, is National Preparedness Month. I was planning on doing a couple of videos this month that are about preparedness, both topical, gear related, truck loadout, that kind of stuff. And I decided to just push it all to September. I'm going to just go big and do a bunch of kind of preparedness, EDC, truck gear, topical videos, house stuff, a lot of prepping videos in September. So you can look forward to that if you're into it. If you're not into it, you should watch it because, well, the world's getting crazy. So this video, I'm only talking about the exterior of the truck, and I'll talk about all the gear that I keep in the truck in a video that I'll put out in September. So let's just start in the front and work our way back, I guess. So the front, rear, wheels, and fender are all from this company called Buckstop Truckware. Buckstop Truckware. I partnered with them on this build. They didn't give me this stuff for free or anything, but they did give me a discount, so that's nice. But it finally came, and I just installed it all myself. I had True Automotive take the delivery and mount the wheels and tires for me, but everything else, all the fenders, everything I did at home. None of it was too crazy hard. But we start on the front here. So Buckstop actually got their start making bumpers and then kind of got into the whole super single thing and fender flares and wheels. But bumpers are really at their core. So they sell a variety of bumpers. I wanted this big boy with the full protection. We got this crazy, I mean, this is crazy, probably twice the girth of my Tacoma bumper. And then we got some thinner ones, but basically protecting the whole radiator. These beefy like I-beam things, it does stick out quite a bit. Whereas on the Tacoma, I wanted just like sleek. The C4 bumpers are sleek and streamlined and small, but they added some protection. This one, this truck, I was just like, I want it to handle anything. Give me the meanest bumper you can. So this thing is a big beefcake bumper. They make this in kind of the normal width, and then this is the extended width. So what we have here are these fenders that are nearly 8 inches wider, at the widest anyway, to accommodate the super wide tires. I'll get into that whole setup in a second, but they make a bumper that matches to that extra width. Whereas a normal bumper would stop like here, this bumper gets even wider to mate with the fender flares perfectly. So this combo is kind of the perfection setup for the super singles if this is what you're after. Otherwise, you're going to have to try and hodgepodge some other different fenders together with some other different bumper, and they won't really, you know, you could probably get it to work. But this is like the out-of-the-box perfection. So I wanted beefy. I live in the mountains of Colorado. If I hit a deer or an elk or whatever, I want the maximum chance of surviving, both when times are good or in the end of the world when times are bad. So I wanted maximum protection against that or bipedal creatures. A mob of riders that were trying to kill me, or some grays or some aliens or Bigfoot or whatever, you know, I want to be able to handle the hit. So this offers headlight protection. It kind of is angled to where it'll brush stuff off the side as well. If you can see, And then in the front offers massive radiator protection with 3 bars in there, intercoolers, all that stuff. So if you hit something, the idea is your truck is not out of commission. You can still get to your destination. And I mean, this bumper is beefcake supreme. It's got hooks. You can hack up your factory ones and use them, I think, as well, but I just used the hooks that were provided. We went with Baja designs on this truck as well. So this bumper, the default setting anyway, is kind of fitted to these Baja designs lights, the squadrons here and then a 6-inch here. So the XL80s are kind of the beefcake massive power. I have these pointed straight out and these ones at kind of an angle out here. Having said that, I haven't wired these things up yet. That is to come. And then we have winch capable bumper here, which I don't have a winch in yet, so I'll need to put that. And then we have a little 2-inch receiver as well. So you could put a, motorcycle carrier, front hitch mount, something on there, and just beefy. So that bumper is amazing. So then that's paired with these fender flares and the wheels and tires. So the fender flares, these are also a Buckstop product. They come unfinished fiberglass. I actually got a matching spray paint kit and did it all myself, but I should have done a little more prep work because as with all fiberglass stuff, it requires a lot of prep, and I did a minimal amount of prep. So while the paint looks really nice, so the spray paint job I did looks really nice, really dirty right now, but looks really nice. The color match is really nice. There are some imperfections in the fiberglass, but I just don't care. Anyway, this is it. You cut out, you remove the factory fenders, you cut it out. I'll overlay some of that if I remember. I think I filmed a little bit of it. You basically pull a bunch of stuff off. You cut out a frame portion here, put a little piece that gives you more clearance. You cut a bunch out back here to give you clearance. It comes with new liner extensions that have rivets that I bought the little rivet tool for. I didn't have it, so I just used some screws in there for now. And that actually mates up to the factory liners that are back in here. So you reuse the factory liners, and so you have all of your liner in, which is nice. And yeah, that allows for fitment of massive wheels and tires. The only place I'm rubbing right now actually is, can you see it? The sway bar right there. So I'm not even rubbing at all back here. Like, you don't need to do a body mount chop or anything. You just need to hack a bunch of the body, essentially, which I did. This truck is stock height, actually, which is insane. They recommend a lift, and I wanted to see how it is stock. Parched, but also is a great time to thank the sponsor of today's video, LMNT. So huge shout out and thank you to LMNT for sponsoring today's video and several videos actually. They've helped me out. They sent a bunch of kind of sample packets out for me to give out at Overland Expo Mountain West. So this truck will be in the Diamondback covers booth at Overland Expo West, and I will be slanging some LMNT there as well if you want to try it out. So anyway, forgot to hit record. I already dumped this in here, as you can see, but let's just look at the box while I'm showing you this so you can kind of have it all in front of you. LMNT's an electrolyte drink mix, obviously, with the perfect balance of sodium, potassium, and magnesium. No sugar, no gluten, no dodgy ingredients, paleo, keto friendly, vegan friendly, variety of flavors. Also doesn't break a fast. So I've been doing like the intermittent fasting thing. And in that window where I'm not supposed to consume any calories, I can still drink LMNT and not break my fast. I actually have a buddy, Andy, who loves LMNT so much. He's like, I can hardly just drink water anymore. Like, it's always got to have a little LMNT in it. So a little bit salty. If you've never had one of these hydration drinks before, the key is sodium mixed with the other ingredients as well. A lot of research behind LMNT in that water alone doesn't hydrate you. That's kind of common knowledge. But what is maybe a little less common knowledge is salt does hydrate you. But the right amount of salt mixed with the right amount of the other ingredients. So taking all of the guesswork out of those perfect proportions, they send you a handy, deliciously flavored packet. They're also offering 8 free sample packets from my followers that I will put a little bit later. But I love it. If I'm parched, or if I'm like mountain biking or hiking or doing anything else where the hydration is a natural aspect of life, obviously it fits there. But I'll just drink it when I'm doing work stuff around the house. You could just drink it if you need to be hydrated. You don't need to be doing anything special. But there are a lot of special people that do use LMNT. We're talking Olympians, professional athletes, team guys, doctors, scientists, and, you know, normal people like you and me. So if you ever want to give your hydration just a little bit of boost, try LMNT. Drink LMNT.com/LLOD, and that'll, every single order, lemonade is their like limited edition summer beverage. I really like raspberry. They have watermelon, citrus, orange. They got a bunch of other, they got some for hot beverages as well, like chocolate, salt kind of tastes like salted caramel. Delicious. But with every single order, not your first subscription, you can come back every time you order from drinklmnt.com/LLOD, you will get an 8 sample packet for free. So basically they're adding 8 to every order every time at drinklmnt.com/LLOD. So anyway, thank you LMNT for sponsoring this video. Thank you for keeping me hydrated. I'm going to chug a little bit of this, and then we're going to get back to wheels and tires. So giant wheels, giant tires. This truck, as big as it looks, no lift. They say probably, you know, like a 2-inch to 3 or 4-inch lift is kind of ideal if you want to run 40-inch tires to be practical. But I want to keep things nice and low, and these tires do give me about 4.5 inches more of ground clearance. It does raise everything on the truck up. And honestly, except for that sway bar, which again, I think Carly makes like a torsion sway bar that they said clears 37-inch tires, but with the bigger offset, these are 40 by 1550s, bigger offset of the 450, but with the tighter turning radius, I don't know how all of that factors in. So maybe I'll try the Carly torsion sway bar, which is supposed to improve the ride characteristics and give you a little more articulation as well. Maybe I'll try that and see, but that is the only place I rub. I don't rub back here at all. It's amazing. Again, at stock height, it could maybe go for like a 1-inch level or something like that. I'm not sure. But basically this truck now doesn't have a dually rear wheel, but it's also no wider. Like the overall width of the truck is the same as with a dually. Like maybe it's a 1/2 inch wider or something, but the dually fenders are the widest part of the truck outside of the mirrors. So my truck didn't actually get any wider except in the front. And the front got quite a bit wider, obviously, because now the front width matches the rear width. With these fenders and with these wheels, now we are tracking straight. Whereas with the dually, you're way wider in the rear and not as wide in the front. Dualies don't really ride well. They tow and they haul great. They don't ride that well. They kind of steer a little funky, again, because they're different widths, front and rear. They're horrible at off-roading. Part of that, different width front and rear, but also the rear dualies, especially the 19.5 with the commercial tires, super stiff, but stuff can get lodged in the dual rear wheels, rocks, sticks, stuff like that. Everything about dualies sucks for off-road. So singles are the way to go off-road. So to do that, especially if you have a dually, you need some special mojo. That's where these Buckstop wheels come in. There are a few manufacturers that make these wheels. Buckstop's the only one that I know of currently anyway that's making the 1-piece. So not the beadlock or the 3-piece. So that keeps it light. It keeps it simple. It means anybody that can mount a big wheel to a big tire or a big tire to a wheel can do these, which I like, I wanted. I'm not airing down to 0 PSI. I didn't need beadlocks. I just wanted the lightest, easiest wheels, and I think they're the best looking as well. Kind of got that old school military look, which obviously fits the truck well, but I've just always liked. So these are actually made in the USA by Buckstop, 20-inch by 11-inch, and the special thing is, they're rated very heavy, I think 7,000 pounds or something per wheel. Basically, you see how this dish isn't very deep here, and then this dish is deeper in the rear. There's actually dual valve stems as well. This one to air up when it's on the other side, and this one to air up when it's on this side, which is cool. But it's the same wheel and tire for the front and the rear. So if you have a spare, it's the same front and rear. If you want to rotate your tires, it's the same front and rear. It's just simply a tire flip. So that is very, very cool. And these are the Toyo Open Country MTs 40 by 1550. So wheel choice, I'm getting rained on a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad. Wheel choice is something you need to consider when you're doing a super single. These specifically, these tires, the Toyo Open Country MT 4015 R20s are a 130 load rated tire, which means they're rated for 4,200 pounds per tire. That's important, we'll get to in a second, and they're also a Q speed rated tire. That means they're rated to 99 miles per hour. If you go something that you see a lot of times on the super singles is a military tire. They're gonna be like a 68 mile per hour. Maybe, I think the fastest ones are like an 80 mile per hour limit. I have some. I have these Continentals. And so there is one reason to go with a military tire, and that is load rating. In every other category, they're worse. The tread pattern is worse, the rubber compound is worse, the sidewall is worse, the speed rating is worse. All of the performance of a military tire is going to be worse than something like a high-tech LT tire like the Toyo Open Country MT. So why do I have Continentals on that and I have Toyos on this? Well, that's actually going to be heavy. That's actually going to be beyond the load rating of the Toyo MTs. I think it would be close. So once that thing's all loaded out and full, then I need to actually see what the weight is, but I'm assuming it will be more than this. But these tires, it's actually starting to rain a little bit more, so I'm gonna go in a second and come back out. But these tires with 4,200 pounds per tire, that means we have 16,800 pound, essentially, weight rating of the truck. The truck GVWR is only 14,000 pounds, so technically the tires can handle more than the truck, but they can't really. And that is because you'll usually weigh down the rear axle more. So this has essentially 8,400 pound rating for the rear axle. Now this truck as it sits is under 10,000 pounds. We'll say I think it's around 9,000, maybe a little more than 9,000 pounds, but most of that is the diesel motor up front and the crew cab and everything. So when the truck is empty, there's more weight up front than in the rear. So the rear is probably sitting at 3,500, 4,000 pounds, which means I can put around 4,000 pounds on the rear alone. Now, if it's in the bed, you know that'll be split between the front and the rear a little bit, but we'll just say safely 4,000 pounds of payload in the rear. Seems like a lot, and it is a lot, but I'm only talking about this because you do need to be cognizant. If you're towing a giant fifth wheeler, gooseneck that's putting crazy amounts of weight all over the bed, or you just have some crazy camper that's like 6,000 pounds, like a slide-in camper or something like that, or you're like putting 10,000 gallons of water in the rear, or you're doing something crazy back here, then you may need to go to a military tire because, again, you don't have dual rear wheels. You don't have four wheels back here distributing the weight, four tires, really. You just have two. So that doesn't... I'm not towing anything that puts that much weight on the bed. I don't have a crazy heavy camper. Realistically, anything I'm doing is going to fall within, again, that's 4,000 pounds extra on the rear. If I have a bunch of stuff here, a motorcycle on the front, and some fat dudes in the back, that's all payload that's getting distributed. So I have really more than 4,000 pounds of payload in this truck that the tires can handle, but 4,000 pounds are right here. So am I going to hit that? I don't see a scenario where I will, but if, for instance, you know, I got a giant toy hauler or a giant fifth wheel or something, there are scenarios where you might need to go to military tires. But for me, everything else being better about the LT tires is why I went for the LTs. Also the speed rating. This old bus gonna have precious cargo, it's a slow vehicle, it's gonna be in the right lane, just take my time getting places. I regularly go over 75 miles per hour, like legally, speed limits and stuff. Like there's 80 mile per hour speed limits. So I'm going faster than that. So I didn't want to limit myself So I went with the Toyo MTs. So it's a great tire. I have them on other vehicles. Really a better tire in every way except for load rating. So anyway, just to answer that question, that is that. So 40-inch tires, front and rear, no lift, plenty of room in the rear. We talked about clearancing the front, plenty of room in the rear. I didn't need to do anything. These tires just fit. Then, so I did add these. I'll talk more in a future update on the truck. These Boost Auto LumaStep M2. So they're these running boards that go up and down, but these ones have illumination. They have that kind of rock light essentially that just kicks on whenever they drop down. It also has a sequential turn signal, which is really bright. And I can also just control the light on and off with a switch that I haven't wired up yet. So essentially rock lights that I can turn on demand. I love everything about these. The truck is a little bit taller, so having the step drop down to get in and out of is super nice. And at night especially, the lights are crazy. And then I went with the sequential because I got a big truck. And having that extra bit, I'm just hitting the unlock, it's not actually a turn signal. That extra light there that just everyone can see, I thought was very cool. Or when I put my hazards on, everyone can see me. Very, very cool. So, and then that's also, I do also have the Boost Auto. They did send me this combo to try out. My truck did not have power telescope or power folding mirrors. I do need to finish wiring these up because I haven't yet. They just, the turn signals work and the mirrors work and all that stuff, but I haven't wired up the power functionality. I did have to hack these things up to add my cameras, which was a bit of a pain that I'll probably talk about in a future video. But I love Super Duty mirrors, kind of the regular one and the curved one. This one, you don't have a blind spot. You can see when you're pulling into parking spots, you can see your rear tire, your rear fender, and sitting there, like that curved mirror, I can see to like here, I can see to here. So there's essentially no blind spots on this truck, which is amazing. Out back, we have the Diamondback HD. I'm going to be adding a few of these S1s around. They're not wired up, obviously. None of my lights are wired up yet. But I'm going to be using the S-Pod switch controller, which I haven't used before. So looking forward to trying that out. And so this is flood. I'm going to add some more up to the headache rack. This is the headache rack on the Diamondback HD. 8-foot bed, big old huge cover. You could land a helicopter up here. I actually added this 2-inch receiver up here as well, where I can put an ATV hitch, wire it up so I can pull something up ramps onto the cover. More on that later. Headache rack is cool. I think it fits the look of the truck, but also functional. These, while I'm looking, are from Real Truck. They sent me out kind of a care package of various things. These are the AVS in-channel kind of rain gutter wind deflector guys that allow you to crack your windows even when it's raining, or so that way you can let out the heat or whatever. I like these, the in-channel ones. They're just a little more svelte, a little more sleek, and they're my preferred one. Then I have the Buckstop rear bumper, which is sick because we have the step in here now. My truck, the newer Super Duties, have the step there and there, which is nice. I'll talk about that in a second. But this is nice bumper. We got kind of diamond tread up here. It reuses all the factory plugs and lights and everything. You can get to your spare tire. You have cutouts for the Baja designs. These are the flush mount squadrons right in there, which is sick. A little bit of shackle points, and you use the factory hitch. So bolts right up. Both bumpers really just bolt right up, super easy. So that's super nice. And yeah, a little bit of extra protection, a little bit of added functionality, light cutouts, some better points to just hook something up to. It retains the factory hitch right here, which is a class 5 hitch, which these numbers went up for the newer ones, especially the high output ones. But we got that, and we got a hitch with the same ratings. This is actually Also from Real Truck, this is a WaySafe hitch. I love data. I love knowing things. So this is actually a hitch that has basically a little scale built in, so you can know how much tongue weight you have, which again, I'm not too concerned about with this truck, but it is good to know how much you're putting on there, you know, if you're near the good ratio or if you need to pull the car forward a little bit on the trailer. I love that. I've never had one. So this is really cool. Obviously adjustable up and down. This is lockable. These balls are quick swappable. So there's a little pin in here that when you pull this off, you can take the pin out and just swap balls just like that. So that's awesome, especially if you're swapping balls a lot. And this is a 3-inch receiver on this truck with an 8-inch drop. So I can dial in how high it is pretty much to any application with this hitch here. And this is all aluminum, so this will never rust. It's very cool. I kind of want to figure out if I can make a way to, when I don't want, because I'm not going to have the hitch in all the time because I'm not towing all the time. I wish that there was a way to store this somewhere. I was thinking about putting like a piece of metal or a 3-inch receiver tube like up there so I can just slide it in and hold it, because this distance from up there to here, that hitch would hang down to like flush. So I'd lose no ground clearance. It'd just kind of be hidden, tucked up in there, but then I always have it with me whenever I need to access it. I doubt I'll ever do anything like that, but the thought is there. Diamondback HD. I've been loading so much stuff on this. I've been kind of getting a lot of stuff both for this truck and for the bus and miscellaneous other stuff, to where I've just been having people drop it off with forklifts right on top. And then I've been using, this is kind of a new product from Diamondback, the Stronghold. It's like a big cargo net that has a bunch of straps that just work perfectly with the Diamondback, because these straps at the corners can just hook straight up to the cleats on the Diamondback, and then paired with the headache rack, and just kind of shove stuff right up against it. Man, I mean, everything has been working out better than I had imagined, pretty much. Back here, what do we got? Oh, look at that, full sheet of plywood. We got the Crosspin 4T up there, which I love, has all kinds of gear that I'll get into in a future video. But fitting a full sheet of plywood in the back is so nice. I've been buying a bunch of them for the bus build. And then I got this. This is also from Real Truck. I believe it's from Bedrug. I don't know. I honestly forget. I'll put it on screen. But I'll put everything I talked about, all the links and everything, down below. But this is an interesting product. I was looking for, I didn't want a rug in here because it was going to get dirty, but I did kind of want a mat of some sort. But then I did want also this little gasket that covered, because as you can see, I just got a lot of junk that kind of falls in there with stuff that I'm hauling around. So I wanted something also that was kind of soft, so when I hop up here and I'm on my knees or whatever digging stuff out, I'm not just tearing myself up. So this is like a kind of a hard rubbery, almost plastic, but like a hard rubbery texture that has stuff not slide around quite as much, but it's got like a foam underlayment under here. So it's kind of soft, but you can just spray it off with a hose. It's not like a bed rug or anything like that. And it just fits the bed, and stuff, you know, kind of slides in and out, something like easy, but it's a little bit grippy. Anyway, it has been working out perfectly, honestly. So I'll link that down below. Really been enjoying that. Beyond that, yeah, the Alpha X headlights that really kind of finish off the look. And man, the truck is everything that I hoped it would be. It is just an incredible machine. It's huge, it's big, drives big, takes up a lot of room. It can fit in a normal spot, actually, at least normal spots up where I live. Would I want to drive this thing around in a city and, you know, parallel park it on tight trafficked streets? No, not at all. But as huge as it looks, again, it's just a little taller, because there's no lift, a little taller, 4 or 5 inches taller than a stock, you know, like even a stock F-250 dually, no wider, which is crazy. When people, I don't like it. Everyone has their preference, but when people put, you know, 37 dualies on or whatever, and then they go wide and they're sticking out like an extra 10, 12 inches wide. This truck is 8 feet wide. A standard dually is a little wider at the mirrors, but it's 8 feet wide at the fenders and essentially the rear tires. 8 feet wide, like considerably wider than a Humvee or an H1 Hummer. A wide truck, wider than a Raptor. Like, why you would want to add an extra 2 feet of width? I drive on roads where like I have like 6 inches on each side between the lines. Like, you wouldn't be able to drive within the lines when you go that wide. Is there a reason that people do that? Or is it just for the bro look? If you're one of those people, I don't know. I mean, tell me. I don't necessarily think you're an idiot. I just think your truck looks a little stupid. But some people love it. But anyway, I love this perfect fitment look. That's what I love. I love the perfect fitment look and being no wider than factory. Love it. So anyway, that's the truck. The F-450 bug out truck, ultimate prepared truck, whatever we're calling it. It's my dream become reality. Now again, if I was rich, I'd probably get a 2024, 2025, just elevation off grid, liquid springs, F550, just the real true cream de la crop. But this is the poor man's version of it. People, when I said poor man's earth roamer, people got so offended. Poor man's is a phrase. It means not as expensive as the expensive one. So whereas an elevation off grid truck is like $200K, this was like, I think it's, I don't know exactly. I'd have to calculate everything. I got some discounts and stuff as well, obviously. But I think you could do it for definitely well under 100K. But probably, I would say this truck right here, anybody could do, no discounts, nothing, for 75K. Which I get is expensive. But it's, you know, almost like a third the cost of an elevation off grid truck. Is it as good? Probably not. But it's good enough for me. So that is it. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say it's stupid. You're like, what about this? Or have you thought of that? Or what are you going to do in this scenario? Or ask them down below. Happy to answer them. I'm going to do some follow-up videos on the truck as well. So any questions I get now, I'll try to throw answers in future videos. Sweet. Well, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Really happy to get this truck dialed in. I've been heads down on the bus, getting it ready for a trip the family's taking next month. It'll be close, but I'll give you an update on that soon. Cool. All right, guys. Well, until next time, take care.